Hi, this is Christopher Hobbs, and I'm going to talk about mushroom spirit medicine. Also, you might say visionary mushrooms or hallucinogenic mushrooms like psilocybin. Now, a number of genera, plant or mushroom groups besides psilocybin or Psilocybe contain the active hallucinogenic substances which were determined by Albert Hofmann to be psilocybin and psilocin and baeocystin. So these are the active compounds that act on our serotonin receptors, and it turns out that, of course, the genus Psilocybe, the psilocybin mushrooms, a lot of them do contain high amounts of these active compounds. However, there are other groups of mushrooms that also produce them, interestingly enough. Why are they producing them? Is it animals are trying to eat them like a squirrel and then getting the squirrel stone? So I don't know if I've ever seen a squirrel on hallucinogenic mushrooms. It might be quite interesting, but I don't think I'd want to be too close to them. Now, the standard doses of psilocybin, the medium oral dose is considered to be about 7 milligrams of psilocybin plus psilocin, and which you might find in about 1 gram of dried Psilocybe cubensis, less for more potent species like cyanescens or azurescens. The toxicity of psilocybin is very low, especially when compared to its effective dose for humans, which is only 0.02 milligrams per kilogram. And you can see that for a mouse model anyway, it takes 280 milligrams per kilograms of the active compounds to really start getting in the area where you might say it's causing toxic effects. Now, the first Westerners or outsiders to discover and look into the use of hallucinogenic substances were Gene Johnson in 1939, was the first outsider to observe the shamanistic use of psilocybin mushrooms in southern Mexico. Blas Pablo Rico. Richard Schultes, again mentioned, is the very well-known ethnobotanist at Harvard in 1938. And at that time, he collected 3 samples of sacred mushrooms, which he deposited in the Harvard herbarium. But he didn't know what they were. He wasn't a fungi taxonomist. So late in the 1940s, Rolf Singer was a German mycologist, and he looked at these specimens and concluded that they were from the genus Psilocybin. And later Gaston Guzman, who is still alive, he's considered the world's leading authority on psilocybin mushrooms. Here are the contraindications noted: psychological imbalances that are already present, like depression and anxiety, suicidal thoughts, pre-existing medical conditions with the use of pharmaceutical drugs like bipolar disease and psychosis and so forth, pre-existing heart conditions, concomitant use of alcohol, especially heavy use, and MAO inhibitors, which are monoamine oxidase inhibitors that are maybe sometimes used to be used for antidepressants, not so much today. Reishi is a very special medicinal mushroom. It has so many different qualities and properties and uses, I think much beyond many of the other ones like shiitake or lion's mane, which often are a lot more specific. Now, reishi is the Japanese name for Ganoderma lingere. Nowadays, we'll discuss the Latin name, the history of the Latin name in a bit, not in great detail, but just to give you an idea of what species we're talking about when we say reishi, or the Chinese name is lingere. a little bit acrid if you eat too much of it. So just if you ever find one, try a little piece of it and see what you feel like, see what it does. But otherwise, you can certainly slice it. You can make a double extract. This part right here is quite fibrous and tough, so you'd have to cut that one up a bit, and you with the shears or something. And then what I would recommend doing is boiling it down and making a dried tea extract powder.